There was an epic battle between the 10-year rookie truckers, because only in trucking can you put 10 years into something, but somebody still goes, "You're a rookie," and the super truckers. And I was involved. And I got to be honest with you guys, I am lucky to be here standing in front of you to tell the tale of this absolute nightmare that I lived through. I'm going to tell you guys about it. Okay, it's all started in Phoenix. Me and my crew were there picking up a hot load. There were 10 of us. And we're all moving in formation together, making sure to watch out for each other, watch each other's backs, make sure there's no shenanigans. Yep, me and my crew, the Piss Bottle Rangers, PBR for short, because that's how we load our weapons. Cold PBR in, warm PBR out, baby. So the day started out just fine. We get out there and we're rumbling down the road headed towards I-40. We got to make it to Albuquerque. We got to make it to Albuquerque. And we're out there and we're just rumbling down the road. And you should have seen when we blew by that chicken coop. Headed into New Mexico. There was nothing they could do to stop us. Those DOT officers knew not to even try. They knew to just let us go on our way. One DOT officer tried to give us the red light. But no, the elder DOT officer that had been there for a while, he put his hands on his shoulder and he said, "Just let them go, boy. Just let them go. If you know what's good for you, you just let them ride on through here." And we blew by that chicken coop when we realized we needed fuel. So we pulled into the Pilot, Gallup, New Mexico. Pilot Flying J. All 10 of us rolled in. There were 12 pumps and 6 other truckers pumping fuel. But when they saw us rolling in there, they knew what to do. They all jumped in their trucks and they moseyed on out of there. Because the last thing they wanted to do was tangle with the Piss Bottle Rangers. And they got in their trucks and they drove away. And we all got out and we started fueling those trucks, baby. We started fueling those trucks up. Beautiful day. Sun was shining. Calm wind blowing through. Just a slight breeze. Just enough to cool down that sun just a little bit. And us boys, we were out there playing grab ass in the fuel island. Just joking around with each other. When suddenly the wind stops. And off in the distance, you hear the slight rumble of thousands and thousands of CPAP machines and mobility scooters. And I looked up to my sergeant, and he could tell by the defeated look in my eyes that I knew what was coming. The CPAP posse was here. That's right, boys, you heard me. The CPAP posse was here. And I know a lot of you that doesn't mean anything to you. But to us in the industry, these are the most feared cheeseburger hunters in the land. They had just got done with a successful incursion on the Carl's Jr. inside the Flying J, leaving no cheeseburger behind. All the Diet Cokes were cleaned out too. Don't worry, the salads were just fine. And I heard the low hum of those CPAP machines and mobility scooters, and I went, oh my God. We let our guard down. We let our guard down. We knew better than to do this, and they had just caught us at the most vulnerable spot they could ever catch us. Fuel Island. You boys know what happens on Fuel Island? Death. Broken bones. Carnage. And by the time it's all said and done, your loved ones do nothing but crying. It's all over but the crying after the meetup on Fuel Island. And I looked towards the Flying J, and they were flanking us from the left. Thousands of them. And I realized that they had started to surround us all the way around Fuel Island, as far as the eye could see. The hiss of the air tanks, the low growl of the mobility scooters being put to the test, taking everything they could take to get to us. And I didn't know what to do. My back was against the wall, and I was standing in front of my truck. And I turned to run when I heard what sounded like the crack of a whip behind me. And I got hit in the back. And it was that damn air hose to the CPAP machine. And I fell down to my face. And they had wrapped the CPAP hose around my ankle and started dragging me towards them. And as they're dragging me towards them, guys, I'm screaming for help because I'm a bitch. Right? Because I'm just a rookie trucker bitch. All I knew what to do was scream for help. And everybody else was fighting all around me, and there was no one that could possibly save me. I mean, my guys are being whipped by hoses. And as they pulled me in, hundreds and hundreds of opposing soldiers, and they're dragging me back towards them. I had to dig deep and I had to think quick. And I reached for me blade. And I started cutting air hoses. First I cut the one off my ankle. And you heard that loud hiss as that air hose cut. And then I started crawling around, grabbing every air hose I could find to every CPAP machine. And I started cutting and cutting and cutting. As I'm cutting, I noticed bodies falling to the ground. Just dead bodies all around me as they gasped for their last breath. And have you ever heard a man gasp his last breath as he falls to the ground? When I realized I was free, I got up and I started running back to my truck because I was unarmed. All I had was me blade. That's all I had. So stupid. I knew better. My training taught me better. Never get out of this truck without your piss bottle grenades. But I got too cocky that day. I got way too cocky that day and thought I could just do whatever I wanted. Thought that I could go out there unarmed and not face the consequences. Well, my friends, that day, I did not get away with it. So I'm crawling around the piss-soaked trenches of Fuel Island from battles past when I see another air hose. Only one more. And I grab that air hose and I do what I've been doing to all these poor souls. And I cut that motherfucker. And a 400-pound fucking body falls on me. Now I'm pinned to the ground as this man takes his last breath, just like the victims before him. And I have to find a way to get out from under him. I have to find a way out from under this man. So with all my might, I roll him off me. And I get up. And I sprint towards my truck where all the piss bottle grenades are. Because when I get back to those, these boys are fucked. These boys are fucked. And all I know, it's me and it's 30 feet to that truck. And if I could get up there and I could rip that door open and I could get up in that truck, I'll have access to my arsenal. So I look around, me and me trusty blade, and I don't see anyone that's coming after me. So I get up and I start to run, and I'm making a mad dash towards the truck, and I put my hand on the fucking handle, and I pull that door open, and I'm climbing up into the seat of that truck, and as I'm climbing up, I feel another air hose wrap around my ankle yet again. How are they so precise with throwing these air hoses? It's like chubby Indiana Jones out here with the goddamn CPAP hose, and they got the thing wrapped around my ankle, and as they're pulling me from the truck again, I reach up on the dash where I have a day-old cheeseburger from yesterday still. It's still wrapped up, and I grab it as I'm falling to the ground, and I unwrap the cheeseburger and I throw it into the crowd, and suddenly everyone's attention turns to the cheeseburger flying through the air. and it hits the ground. And I had never seen a mobility scooter move so fast in my life, much less thousands of them, as they all made a mad dash towards this one lone cheeseburger. Leave no cheeseburger behind, baby. That's their motto. And as they all get there at the same time, they all start to fight over it. A mutiny breaks out in their ranks. And now they're all fighting over this one last cheeseburger. And they're trying to throw punches at each other, but it's and they start throwing blows at each other. And that's when I start going and picking up my men. I start picking my men up from the piss puddles on Fuel Island, getting them up off the ground, saying, "Get up, boy. We got work to do. There's 10 of us, and there's thousands of them." But if you know anything about old this guy Trucks, well, this guy Trucks doesn't back down in the face of 10,000 angry super truckers. Nay! He stands proudly every time, and he fights back. While a lot of people bow down and say, "I better fall in line. I better do what these other truckers tell me to do. I better kiss their fat-ass snakeskin boots." This guy Trucks never backs down. Never have and never will. I'm not going to start now. So I start rallying my troops, picking them up off the ground, saying, "Men, we've got work to do. We have got to pull ourselves together." So I told one guy, I said, "Get to your truck, grab your grenades, because we're going to need them." As I start rallying the troops and getting men up off the ground, they're all understanding what's happening. We've got a break in all this violence right now. We've got a break in all this violence, and everybody scatters and runs to their own trucks. They all made the same mistake I did. Every one of us unarmed. And one of my brothers in arms makes it to his truck, and he pulls out a cooler, one of those fucking 60-gallon igloo coolers. No ice, though. It's important to keep those piss bottles warm. And it's loaded full of piss bottles. And he grabs them and he starts chucking them into the crowd. As they're fighting over the piss bottles, grenades start going off everywhere. And we're all getting hit by some of the shrapnel, meaning we were getting piss on our face. Some people would pay good money for that. Not us, just some people would pay really good money to get piss on their face. But the crowd starts breaking up as the grenades are flying. And you can sense morale go up immediately. We said, "Boys, we were down, but we're not out. We're not out, baby." They thought they finally had us. Oh, boy. It was all fun and games, wasn't it? But now you're about to find out what the Piss Bottle Rangers are truly made of. As we all started to get our bearings, we all started to get our grenades out of our trucks, arming ourselves, and now we were ready to do battle. So the 10 of us stand side by side, just launching piss grenades into, and just so you know, these are just piss bottles. There's nothing fancy about them, but they gotta sound fancy. Piss grenades into these masses of chubby truckers. As they're all fighting over the last cheeseburger, they realize they're under heavy fire. And they start to take cover under each other and try to figure out what to do next. And just when we thought we had them beat, two long-nosed Pete's come rolling in to the front of the truck stop. And these guys are known as the real truckers. Oh yeah, they shifted 18 gears just coming across that parking lot, hauling 80,000 pounds of man balls. I don't know why you would haul 80,000 pounds of man balls, but those guys were just balls. Trailer load of balls. You should have seen the balls on these guys. And they got right between us, face to face, nose to nose. Tip to tip, if you will. Between us and the super truckers. And those real truckers stepped out of the cab of their truck, and for some reason some Wild West music started playing. There was a guy with a piano there. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Sounds like a fever dream, but I don't know. I have no fucking clue. And we saw them go to the opposite side to where the super truckers were, because super truckers and real truckers, they're actually related. You guys didn't know that. You guys didn't know that. And now it's us standing there with these two obstacles in our way. And I looked to my left and I said, "Do you know how to shift gears?" And the soldier next to me said, "No, I've never shifted gears in my life. I don't know what I'm doing." So I looked to my right and I said, "Do you know how to shift gears?" And he said, "No, I don't." And I knew it was up to me. The only rookie trucker out there that knew how to grab some goddamn gears. So me and me blade, we go into our stealth position. I've got 6 piss grenades strapped on my back, and I make my way. And I make my way towards. Don't mind if there's any white spots on the bed. You mind your fucking business. And I make my way. I'll turn it this way. And I make my way towards that long-nosed Pete, right? And I get up there and I climb up in that fucking driver's seat. I climb up in that fucking driver's seat. And I put that motherfucker in reverse and I backed it the fuck up, revealing the entire army of super truckers to my squadron back behind me. And I jumped out of that truck and I ran and I said, "Cover me! Cover me!" as I ran back towards my crew. Piss bottles flying over my head. And I just kept my head down. And it was so cool. Everything was in slow motion as piss flying here and piss is flying there. And I'm just running, which confused the fuck out of them because they're like, "What is that weird action he's doing where his legs are moving? How does his body move that quickly?" They thought I was Neo from the Matrix. They're like, "He's the one." And I did this for some reason. And then I did this. I don't know why. Hey, if you got it, flaunt it, right, baby? So I let them know I am Neo from the Matrix, you fucking weirdos. and this is a battle. This is serious. This is war. What are we laughing for? What the fuck is all the laughter about? God damn it. This is war. Y'all need to quit laughing. Y'all need to quit laughing. So anyways, I got back over to my squadron and we looked over. And the real truckers were injecting the super truckers with insulin. And I don't know if you guys know this, but that's actually against the Geneva Convention. What they were doing was cheating. These are performance-enhancing drugs. And now the super truckers were way less drowsy than when we first ran into them. And these guys stood up from their mobility scooters. And they started limping towards us like something out of The Walking Dead. Just dragging that one bum purple leg behind them as they come towards us. And we know this is the end. It was one thing when they were stuck in those goddamn scooters. But now that they're up and walking, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I screamed. I let out the most blood-curdling scream you could hear because they started to do their battle chant. Where they go, "You're a rookie trucker." Or they say, "You're a steering wheel holder." And as my feelings started to hurt because I'm a fragile millennial, they started to crack my armor open. And my fragile feelings almost couldn't take it anymore when they started chanting, "I've driven more miles in reverse than you've tried driving forward," or whatever the fuck goofy thing they say. And I fell to the ground crying, just millennial tears falling from my eyes. And I thought I'd been defeated. I thought I'd been defeated, folks. I thought this was the end. But I called my therapist on my little headset. Look, I'll show you. Hold on, I'm showing you. These work just fine. You don't need one big enough to tip you over. But I got my therapist on speed dial on this. And I called and he answered. And he could hear all the commotion behind me. And he says, "Josh, what is happening?" And I said, "These big mean truckers, they hurt my feelings again. They said I'm a rookie. They said I'm a rookie. And they said once again that they drove more miles in reverse than I've done going forward, man. And you know how sensitive us millennials are." And he said to me, "Josh, they're just trying to get in your head. And it's working." And my therapist told me, he said, "Josh, I just need you to tune everything out for 10 seconds. Count to 10 for me. Can you do that?" I said, "Yeah, I think I can do that." And he said, "While you're counting to 10, I want you to think very hard about your safe space." And I said, "Okay, I can think about my safe space. I can think about my safe space." And so I started thinking about my safe space, which was a drag club in Portland. Yeah, that's my millennial safe space, a drag club in Portland. And I was thinking about it. And I noticed I started to get more calm. And I counted to 10. And I said, "I feel better now." And he said, "Okay, Josh, what I need you to do is I need you to dry your tears." And I did. I grabbed my shirt and I started drying my tears. And I got snot all over it. It was real gross. And he said, "Now you get up, son, and you fight. And you fight with all you got." So I said, "Thank you, Daddy," and I hung up the phone. I don't know, that's how I always say bye to my therapist. I don't know. And I had noticed my flip-flops had fallen off in the commotion, and I put my flip-flops back on. And I got up, and I stood proudly, and I looked at my men. And I said, "Today's finally gonna be our day. Oh yeah. And when it's over, baby, when it's over, we're all going to Starbucks for a nice latte. But right now, boys, we've got battle to do." And I climbed back up in my truck, still crying a little bit, but not too much. And I grabbed our new top secret biological weapon, the piss bottle pipe bomb. Nobody knows about this yet. So what it is, it's a 2-liter bottle full of piss, in case you're not gathering what a piss bottle is. And it's got a pipe duct taped to it. And the pipe is full of gunpowder. And it's got a fuse. It's got a fuse. Little longer than those old super truckers. Little longer than their fuse. But it's got a fuse nonetheless. And I got out. And I grabbed one of my biodegradable matches. And I struck it across my rotten teeth. And I lit that fuse. And I stepped back and I said, "You motherfuckers must have forgotten who the fuck I am." And as I pulled my arm back to throw it, I said, "I am the ghost of the North." And I let it rip, and it landed right in the middle of the super truckers and the real truckers, and just launched piss in a mushroom cloud all over the goddamn fuel island. And when the mushroom cloud finally cleared, there was no one left to be seen. I just had a stroke. There was no one left to be seen. I had banished them to the netherworld. And we walked in that truck stop. And we went to Starbucks and we got us an oat milk latte. And we all sat around that table and we discussed our feelings. And then we got back in those trucks. And as we were leaving, I went to get up on my truck when some little weird hillbilly with a phone up to my face came up there and go, "Hey, you been parked on this fuel island?" And I said, "Yeah, I've been parked on this fuel island." And he started scanning the side of my truck. He was recording. He said, "I got your company on here, and I got your face on here, and you're going on Bonehead Truckers." And I fucking left because that's my kryptonite. I don't ever want to be on Bonehead Truckers. And we won the battle, bitches, and we won the fucking war. Bye. Correction. We lost the war. Because there is only one fate in this world worse than death. And that is being on fucking Bonehead Truckers. Bye again.